Hey guys, welcome to the Garbage Time Podcast. I'm your host, Katie Nolan. Today I'm joined by producer Matt.
Hello.
Wow.
Yeah, bold.
Wow. Came out swinging.
Yeah, doing it.
And producer Dave.
Hey, yo.
At least we're consistent. Not
I
ever
like
going
to
to
be.
throw me off with the hey-o. Hello. Later in the show, I'll be joined by the one, the only, Mike Francesa. Here's a quick moment from that chat.
And this is why we were so good. There were times where we would do a show 5.5 hours a day. And we did it for, I'd say one time, 6 months, where we never spoke a word off the air. We were that mad at each other. And we would go in and do a 5.5 hour show. Nobody knew that we were fighting. And we would leave and go our separate ways. We would show up in the studio at 1:05, 1:03, and we would do a show, and we would leave, and we would never speak a word. And during commercials, we would never speak a word to each other for 6 months. True story.
Wow.
And no one ever knew that we were fighting.
And you want to listen to that whole chat. That was a good chat. If you want to skip ahead to that, you can. It's going to be like 20 minutes in. I don't know. It's ballpark. Skip ahead if you want to. But first, I figured we should maybe talk about Francesa. Very rarely do we tape our version of the podcast the same day that we do the interview.
Right.
But that is the case today. Are we not supposed to say that? Why are you smiling?
No, I'm just smiling because it was amazing to listen to the interview.
Long day. Yeah, you were
was
there. It was fun. He's a fucking interesting dude.
He really was. I just loved listening to the way he tells stories is just amazing. Because every story he tells, he'll say something and then have a tangent on that goes 10 minutes and then come back to it and then hit another tangent that goes 10 minutes, but they're all interesting.
And that's the fascinating thing was watching him, like, I asked this question and he started here and then he went a little bit this way and I'm like, oh, we got to get back to this. And he would bring it back every time. I think maybe one time I had to be like, so anyway, like we were saying, but he finds his way back. His brain is full of so much information and names. Like I struggle when I tell a story.
Man.
I'm always like, what's her name's daughter? Who's the one who was in that movie with that guy? He's like this person, name. He remembered, what was it, Puth?
Yeah, Charlie Puth.
Charlie Puth. He was talking about how he went to a concert with his daughter, or he went to Jingle Ball or whatever, and that, I don't like these artists nowadays, but that Charlie Puth. I'm like, who the fuck is Charlie Puth? Come to find out, he's the dude that sings on that Wiz Khalifa song. What?
It was like the fact they pulled that out, and it was spoiler alert, like he talks about how much he respects Adele, and then which is amazing, just hearing him talk about that. And then he goes back to like all the like powerful female singers he's seen over his life. He's like, I saw Judy Garland perform and I was playing baseball. Like he was like, I was playing baseball and my mother pulled me off the field and said, you're gonna play in 1,000,000 games, but there's only one Judy Garland. So it was just amazing hearing him do it.
I met him like 3 days ago. Yeah. And I talked to him for an hour and a half, could have kept going. He, fun fact, was late for his own show because we talked for so long that by the time he left here, it was 1:15. His show begins at 1. Mm-hmm. And so he had to walk back down. And when he found out, he's like, why didn't anybody tell me it was 1? I'm like, I don't know. It's not my chair, not my problem. That's what I say. So that was really fun. Not so fun this week. I decided to be proactive with the show. Normally I'm down to the wire writing the things that I'm going to say in the A block of our television program. This week I was like, you know what? I'm going to get out ahead of it. I'm going to write something I'm super proud of. And I wrote this 800-word soliloquy on John Scott, the NHL player who was voted into the All-Star game, who the Coyotes then traded to the Canadiens, and then they demoted him, and so he wasn't going to be able to play, basically shitting on the NHL for doing something so shady. Tuesday, it was announced he was going to play in the All-Star game.
Of course.
So I took all those words I wrote, and I highlighted them, and then I pushed delete, and that is the wonderful thing about sports television, and that's why we need a daily show.
Should have written your A-block about Michael Scott.
Oh, high five.
Conference championship time. Let's face some picks.
Fade that pick. These picks are being made by someone with absolutely zero gambling expertise, so if you choose to bet actual money on these picks, you're stupid and don't care about money because these picks are all probably going to be wrong. So definitely fade these picks.
All right, here's how this works. You should know this by now. My producers are going to give me some info on this weekend's games. There's only 2, so this will be fun. I'm going to make my picks, but I encourage you, as always, take the opposite of who I pick, which is known as fading my picks. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
But
I went 0-4 in the wild card round, which is good. If you fade my picks, crushed it. Then last week I went 4-0. So I'm not sure. Here's the thing. I'm fading. If it gives you guys any consolation, I'm fading my own picks in a picks league I'm in. So I'm picking the opposite of what is on the podcast, and I'm in last place. I'm like, other weeks, I'm like, okay, maybe this week I'll do what I said on the podcast, and those are the weeks I go 0-4, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna fade them all, and then this week I went 0-4 again, so I went 4 on the podcast. Like, it's not working out for me either, so if I've cost you money, I apologize. But Dave, my overall fade that pick record is...
It's still a losing record, so it's 19-22-1, 4-7 in your locks of the week. So
still a loser.
Still winning money if you've been fading your picks.
Still a loser. What's our first game?
Cardinals at Panthers. Panthers -3.
Cardinals at Panthers. Panthers -3. Matt, numbers.
This is such a good weekend. Isn't this the best sports weekend?
I'm so pumped.
Does this excite the two of you?
Yeah.
You like it even though
Championship
you're not in it.
Well, we're used to that.
exciting,
We don't
yeah.
get to go to
that's
that championship every single fucking year.
Yeah.
That must be nice.
We do.
Yeah, that must be nice.
Hey,
Never noticed.
winter is coming
Yeah.
for Pats fans.
Yeah.
We are not going to be like this forever.
Yeah, just like Game of Thrones, it's coming in like 13 years.
Yeah.
But it's
Right.
going to last a long time
Yeah.
once it
might.
gets here. And there will be zombies.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Okay.
This was relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, obviously, both the NFC teams, Cardinals-Panthers, they're both amazing. Arizona, actually a better road team this year, which I
Well.
found interesting. They're 7-1 on the road. Meanwhile, Carolina has won 12 in a row at home.
Yikes.
That dates back to last season.
Yikes.
Um,
I
just-
hate that. Stats that date back to last season. It's like
It's
that's
just
not-
impressive.
that's just
It's impressive.
yes.
Yeah.
But like when Golden State this year was undefeated, and they're like, oh, it's actually blank in a row because it dates back to. It's like, no, it doesn't. New season, new
Yeah.
year, not the same. But anyway, that's just a tangent.
No,
that's just Katie on
I
sports.
completely buy that, especially in the case of the Warriors.
Yeah.
Just an overall note, the AFC home team dominates in the conference championship.
Yes, they
the
do.
The NFC home team is only 3-4 in the last 7, which is insane.
It is true.
That is
Yeah.
insane.
Both of these teams ended their games last weekend very differently.
Holy crap,
we gotta
guys.
talk about the end of the Packers
That
Cards game.
Incredible.
Packers-Cardinals game, like, the first time it happened, I was like, I can't fucking believe that happened. And then last week, I'm like, there's no way. There's no
It's unbelievable.
way this happens again. And it fucking happened again.
I know.
How do you, if you're the Cardinals, and this is maybe just me being dumb, but my first thought was when that was the play, and you knew it was going to be the same thing that happened, whatever week that was, they played who, the Lions, the
Yeah.
last time they did that? Why aren't you
Same
putting
exact
like
thing.
Fitz in the end zone?
Right.
Why isn't like I get it, they don't play defense, but they just got to go up and catch the ball. Put your receivers in the end zone.
Yeah.
At the snap, there was one
big
guy
guys.
back
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
One
It makes
guy.
no sense.
You know what they're gonna do. Get the fucking ball. It was insane. It was insane.
The crazier one to me was 4th and 20 from the 2.
Yeah.
Insane.
And he was running left, and you're like, all right, he'll probably get sacked. Nope, he'll probably just not be able to throw it 60 yards.
Insane.
And then that Jeff Janis guy, who's even heard of that guy?
I have
Yeah.
not heard of that person.
It's unreal.
I believe he was actually he's the Raiders kicker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Janis
Janis
Kowski.
Yeah, that's him.
Yes,
Right.
Yeah,
yes.
that's who that is. He was just
playing.
playing receiver that day, tight end. I don't
Yeah.
even know who that is. That
So
guy.
how-
Who is that guy?
Like, how do you think? And then the Cards like come out in overtime, and then amazing play to Fitz, and it's like, so how do you think?
It's Fitz, so it's fine. It's fine that it was Fitz
Right.
because what a
Love
fucking
Fitz.
guy.
He's the man.
What a fucking guy.
Love him.
I
But
just want
now there's that overtime rules conversation of like, do you change them because why does only the team that gets the coin flip get to touch the ball as long as they
Or
score
the
a
coin
touchdown?
lofts and falls.
Yeah, the coin lob in
Yeah.
no non-gravity situation.
Still figuring out how
Come
that
on,
happens.
bro. Just flip.
Yeah.
Been flipping a coin your whole life. Was it the heaviest coin ever? Did you not eat lunch? Flip the fucking coin.
Tough day for Cleet Blakeman.
Tough day. I know, and your name's Cleet.
Cleet
Like
Blakeman.
your life is devoted to football because your name's Cleet. You're like 2 letters away from being the Fox Sports robot.
Oh, yeah.
Cletus, the robot, would easily flip that coin.
for sure.
But I don't. So what do
Or
you
a
guys think
car.
about overtime rules? Because there's this whole big like. Some people like use college rules, and like that's stupid. Because college rules, I'm pretty sure, again, maybe wrong. You start in the red zone.
Yep.
You
Right.
would just kick a field goal. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But it also doesn't make sense that something like a coin flip controls who gets to get the first chance to score.
I agree. I think both teams should get the ball regardless of what the first team does.
Yeah.
Like, what are we like worried about? Like saving time? It's like they score a touchdown. Packers get the ball back. You have to score a touchdown. Like it's not
It's like beer pong rules. Rebuttal. You don't not get rebuttal. The game just doesn't end. That doesn't make any sense.
Especially in the playoffs. Like in the regular season, maybe that could work.
Yeah.
You know, you want to save injuries or whatever.
Because they do say it's playoff overtime rules, which just means that you can't tie.
Right.
So they might as well just say, okay, we do have special overtime rules for the playoffs.
That's true.
And because he says when they meet, they're like, okay, gentlemen, playoff overtime rules. And when he first said that, I'm like, are they different?
Right.
And then I realized that because they
You're
play.
like, go on, Cleat.
Yeah.
Tell me more, Cleat.
Shoe, man.
Because last time I checked, the NFL likes ratings, and I'm pretty sure
No, they don't.
No one would be turning off the TV if it's like, okay, now the Packers have the ball, have to score a touchdown,
And they're gonna do that thing where they just lob it into the end zone again. And I bet it works.
7th overtime. By then, even Eddie Lacy's skinny.
He's starving.
That's the plan. You got to get him skinny. Played 9
would watch
overtimes.
that.
As a Pats fan, which team would you rather play?
So this is going to depend on this weekend's game because Carson Palmer doesn't look the same. His hand is hurting, and I want to know if that was like a last week thing or if he's like really hurt. The Panthers were. I don't mind. I would face the Panthers. I think I'm not being a dick. I think we would win regardless.
It's like such an un-Patriots fan thing to say.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, so the Panthers looked really good against Seattle in the first half. And I didn't know if that was just Seattle looked like shit, which they did.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell, but it was like anything that Seattle tried to do, Carolina had an answer for. And that makes me a little nervous. But, I mean, we're okay with them with mobile quarterbacks. They don't really do as much damage to us as they do to other teams. So I wouldn't mind playing the Panthers. I wouldn't mind. I would rather play the Panthers.
Okay.
Only because
Wow.
that fucking T-shirt Cam Newton wore to his own game the other day. Did you see it?
I didn't see it.
He wore a T-shirt that depicted himself in the outfit he was wearing in real life, and his child, whose name is Chosen.
Oh man.
It was a newborn babe, but in this, he was like an anthropomorphic baby. They were both dabbing on
God.
a T-shirt. The only thing that would have made me completely change my opinion on that T-shirt is if the Cam on the T-shirt was wearing a T-shirt with Cam on his T-shirt.
So meta.
And it was just like
Wow.
a big, long T-shirtception. Since that didn't happen, I want to beat Cam Newton pretty badly. It just is like, come on, man. And it's like, Cleat said Chosen on it. Your name is Cam Newton, and you're not going to name your kid Fig. Like, you're going to name your kid something ridiculous, and it's not
Such a
Fig.
missed opportunity.
You went with Chosen Newton. That kid's going to get his ass kicked in school. Chosen Newton.
Except he's going to be a huge kid and a millionaire.
Yeah.
That he has that.
I will have a baby just so my baby can kick that baby's ass.
Oh, it's on.
Let's go. Who's
It's
putting
on.
one in me? My baby is going to fucking take that baby into the octagon. Sorry, I just don't. I'm sure he's a lovely human. He's great. I like that he gives the ball to little girls, and that little girl's face was so
That was
wonderful.
awesome.
That's really
That's
sweet.
so great. He's a great person. I don't dislike him. I just want him to not feel so comfortable wearing dumbass T-shirts on the field. Just to know that, like, don't do shit like that. Don't take pictures when the game's not over, celebrating them. Like, don't be that guy.
I agree.
I'm all for the dancing in the end zone. Don't put yourself dancing on a T-shirt. You look like you're
step too far.
sneezing with your baby. You should both go to the doctor.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway, what was the question?
No, you answered the question.
Okay, good.
Yeah, let's make some picks.
Great. Matt, what you got?
Oh boy. I think the Cardinals got a little lucky last week. I think we were a scramble, Carson Palmer miracle scramble and throw away from the Packers probably being the team in here. I like the Carolina Panthers to go to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I do as well. I'm going to take the Panthers -3 here. I think they did take their foot off the gas because they were up 31-0, and they could, and I don't blame them for being like, hey guys, stay healthy. We got this one. I think they are clearly the better team, clearly the better defense, and I'll take the Panthers.
I can't get that Seahawks-Panthers game was so bad.
Yeah.
Like, you all just wanted to keep your points that you scored into one half. Why did that happen?
Really
It's
odd.
And like it's almost worse that way if you're a Seahawks fan. To see the whole second half, they're battling back, and you're like, oh my God, we could do. Nope, we didn't. We came out here and laid an egg in the first half, and then like had false hope for 20 more minutes. Like, this is so dumb. Anyway,
taken.
You're like, move it along, bitch. I'm gonna take the dabbing fucking Panthers. Panthers -3.
Fade that pick.
Did I pick the same thing as you guys?
Yeah.
did.
We all picked the same thing. That's never happened before.
Oh, shit.
Whee! It's like gotta have some sort of sound of effect that happened.
There it is.
The rap alarm.
God, love that.
All right, before we get to the next game, I gotta tell you guys about SeatGeek. Whether you're looking to buy tickets to a game or sell tickets you can't use, you need to check out SeatGeek. Guys, it's the smartest way to buy and sell tickets for your favorite sports team. I've been messing around on the app. I've told you that. It's really great, super easy to use. Also, really cool, I'm getting tweets from you guys that you've used my promo code to buy tickets with SeatGeek, which is awesome. Free money from me. Send it back to me so that we can keep being a television show. SeatGeek pulls all the ticket buying and selling options from other ticket sites into one place to save you time. They also know the fair market value of every ticket and use that info to show you the best deals to help you find underpriced seats. If you have tickets you can't use, SeatGeek will help you price them on their site so that you can quickly sell them to another fan, and they have the lowest fees of any ticket site out there, and they always show you the full price up front, so there's no surprises. And I've said and a lot. There's a lot of good things about SeatGeek, but the last one, my listeners get a $20 rebate off their first SeatGeek purchase. So to get that rebate, just download the free SeatGeek app. It is free. Go to the settings tab and click add a promo code. Enter promo code Katie, that's Katie. SeatGeek will send you $20 once you've made your first ticket purchase. So download the free SeatGeek app today and enter promo code Katie. You're welcome. Next game.
Patriots at Broncos. Patriots -3.
I don't know who I want in this one.
Oh,
This
man.
is a tough one for me. I don't understand what team I'm going to pick. It's going to really be based on your stats, producer Matt.
Yeah, my stats will really carry a lot of weight
Yeah.
here. As we mentioned in the NFC game, the AFC, weirdly, the home team has really dominated. They've won 6 of the last 7 AFC championships. Also, not probably your favorite stat, Katie, New England is 1-4-1 against the spread in their last 6 on the road. Probably just going to leave that stat. But this was an interesting one. This takes a second to unpack.
Wow.
Your pick's already made. This
Okay.
is maybe
Yeah,
for
you're
the
right.
people thinking about
Sorry,
it.
this is for everybody else who uses this podcast to actually gamble.
Yeah, which hopefully no one does.
Exactly.
The number 1 seed at home in the playoffs has been an underdog only 3 times in the last 30 years. Okay,
Wow.
so that means that if you're hosting a game in the playoffs, you're probably favored. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty unusual situation. Each time they've been an underdog, the number 1 seed has lost. So that's good for you.
That's good for you.
Yeah.
Feel good about it. How
is
are you
so good.
feeling about the Pats after the KC game last week?
The KC game, I feel, it's kind of a 2-part question. I felt good. It looked like my team for the first time in a long time. I could have felt better. There were some things that happened. It was closer than it should have been in my mind. But seeing Edelman play and be Edelman, and I hated
good.
that stupid penalty that he had, but whatever. And seeing Gronk in the end zone and just kind of seeing it click the way, like, just seeing them smile as much as they did was like, I haven't seen that. It's been a weird season of injuries, and it just didn't feel like the Patriots. It wasn't as fun to watch. They looked great. I felt very good about that. I don't feel good about going to Denver. Just because the last time, Facebook memories reminded me today that 2 years ago on this date,
remember
I
this.
was in Denver for the AFC Championship, and the Patriots lost. So, I don't know. I should have checked. I think we were the favorite for. No, I guess we weren't, because you just said usually the number 1 seed isn't the dog. So, whatever. I thought we were going to win that game 2 years ago. I went very confidently. I left a vacation in Mexico to go to that game because I'm like, this is fucking great. Denver's a lovely place. There's a bar there called the One Up, which was my jam. Other than that, the trip sucked because we lost. And then we were surrounded by Denver fans, and I didn't know what to do with myself. So, yeah, I'm a little nervous. I don't love it, but we're obviously going to win. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Shocking thoughts from Katie Nolan
Yeah.
on this one.
Groundbreaking.
How about
Breaking news.
Steven Jackson, guys?
Yeah, so your leading rusher last week, Steven Jackson, who doesn't even go here,
Doesn't even go here.
with 6 carries for 16
love
yards.
that.
Does that concern you at all?
No.
No.
Why would that concern me? Why do we need? No, listen, our running backs are never really the jam. It's not really the key to our. It would be nice, yes, David, to have a bit more of a run game.
Yeah.
But coming from a team that basically only has a run game, can you understand how it's better to also have a quarterback?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine that.
Can I make
You
a
know what?
quick-
Steven
sorry.
Jackson could be great. Steven Jackson could be our Adrian Peterson. He's a great running back. Listen, I drafted Steven Jackson in my fantasy draft, I believe 2 seasons ago. And when I did, it
Wow.
was like, you fucking idiot. Why'd you do it? Was like my last pick. I just picked him. And every time I benched him, he like got a touchdown. Let's not be crazy.
Yeah.
And then every time I'm like, oh, word, I'll put in Steven Jackson. He just goose egg. So I have a bit of a contentious
He
relationship
killed
with
it for
Steven
me
Jackson.
in fantasy in 1996.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good
great.
year for
Killed
him.
him.
Big,
Yeah,
big
yeah.
year. Big year for him and Too Close by Next. Just kidding, that was 1998.
What were you
What
gonna
was
say?
what were you gonna say? Producer Matt?
I just have a real question for Patriots fans. Like a lot
bet
of
this
people
isn't a
have
real
been saying like the running game got so screwed up because Deion Lewis got hurt. And it's
Hey,
like, wait, that was the plan?
Yeah.
Like Deion Lewis?
Yes.
I'd never heard of him until week 2.
And Blunt. But
Yeah,
he
Blunt,
was
okay.
great week 2, or maybe it was week 1. He had a great week and then he just got hurt. He would have been great. That's
Yeah.
what we do. Next man up. Next man up.
It's
and guess
insane.
What? Guess what? Steven Jackson. You're the
You're
next
up.
fucking man up.
You're up.
See what you got,
So
bro.
let's go. What time's the game at?
3 o'clock.
Oh, good. So he'll be out in time for dinner. Let's go, Steven. We're going to make picks?
Let's do it.
All right, Matt. Who are you going to pick in this game, Matt?
Well, do I value the truth or my job? I do think I am going to pick the Broncos.
Oh.
And here's why.
Why?
Denver
Why?
has won 5 of their last 6 against New England in
Do
Denver.
they look good when they do? This is not that team.
They're 10-3 in games that this season that are 7 points or less, decided by 7 points or less. I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, that's with Brock Osweiler, not with me. Anyway, cool pick.
I'm taking.
O'Toole, you're the next man up next week. You're taking producer Matt's seat. Congratulations on the promotion.
I think the Pats crush here. I'm taking the Pats -3. I think we're gonna blink. It's gonna be 14-0, 4 minutes into the game.
That's my yes man
Smart.
right there.
Smart.
That's
Yes-
my
yes,
yes
and.
man. He just says yes. And then he goes home and is like, I hate that bitch. She is a tyrant, and working for her is taking years off my life.
I really want to go with Ronnie Hillman. That's Dave later.
To my face, he's like, yeah, oh, Katie, Pats crush it.
Pats are going to win.
I think I'm going to go Bronco. Just kidding. I'm going to go Pats -3.
Fade that pick.
Holy shit, Pats -3. Please, dear God, let
That's
the
why I went. That's why I went Broncos. We would
Yes,
agreed
that's
on all
great.
of them.
That's more
Yeah,
interesting
sure.
that way.
That's definitely why. Okay, it's time for my lock of the week. Matt minus a job is lock of the
Oh
week.
man, great.
No, just kidding. Pats -3.
Definitely fade that pick.
Guys, before we continue, I want to tell you about the National Academy of Sports Medicine. They're looking for people who want an exciting career in the fitness industry where you wake up every day doing something you love. NASM trainers are improving people's lives by helping them reach their health and fitness goals, and the demand for these trainers is huge. Imagine waking up every day excited to get to work, not to a job, but to a rewarding career. Getting paid to stay in shape while helping others reach their fitness goals. How great does that sound? You set your own hours, work in health clubs, sports clinics, and corporate wellness, and you'll love who you work with. Do what you truly enjoy and get paid for it. There's no better time than now to get started on your certification with the National Academy of Sports Medicine. Plus, NISM guarantees you'll land a job as a personal trainer within 60 days of earning your CPT certification or your money back. Guaranteed. Go to myusatrainer.com for a free 14-day free trial of their fast and fun online program. That's myusatrainer.com. Restrictions apply. Visit myusatrainer.com for details. Earlier this week, as we mentioned, I sat down with Mike Francesa. We talked about Mongo Nation, which is his big group of fans, and FrancesaCon, his upcoming reunion show with Mad Dog, what the two of them used to fight about, and whether Mike and the Mad Dog could ever really get back together. Pretty interesting answer there. Also got his thoughts on Bill Simmons, Bill, what are your thoughts on Mike Francesa?
I love Mike Francesa.
That's great.
Rehired, because we can't get through this podcast without fake Bill Simmons. Talked about Bill Simmons, talked about ESPN. He told me some pretty big news about his future at WFAN. I think this may be the first time we broke news. We didn't know what to do. We're not in this situation often, so that was pretty cool. It was huge. Huge. Take a listen. First of all, when I met you last week, first time we met,
Right.
you told me, and your producer told me, that you don't do anybody's podcasts.
No, I don't do many interviews.
Why?
Because I think I'm on the air so much that I think enough's enough. So I don't do anything else the other time. I don't do any interviews. I mean, I don't do like anything, even conventional stuff. I don't do the Today Show. I don't do network news. Once in a while, very rare. Because I feel like I'm on the air over 30 hours a week. I'm on a lot. I'm on by myself. So enough's enough. So I think they get plenty of me, and they don't need to see me anywhere else.
But here you are.
Well, you asked me to do it, and, I think you kind of challenged me like, oh, you won't do it. And I said, you know what? And the proximity was great since you're right here where we are. It makes it much easier. So, yes, I said I would do it.
It was very nice of you.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, it's a pleasure. It's very, that's it. And, I don't do it very often. This is the first one. I can't remember doing an interview. I don't think I've done an interview in years. So this is the first one I've done in a long time. Really, a very long time.
You're doing a great job so far.
I just started.
The other thing we talked about when I met you, and the reason I just want to chat with you for hours, is because I told you that, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this yet, but that I'm going to the Super Bowl. We're doing our show from there at Radio Row.
Yeah.
You told me you invented Radio Row.
I invented the term. I mean, because what happened was when we went there, when Dog and I went there was no Radio Row. And we went for years, starting in the late 80s, and we used to actually chat with the NFL at the time, whether it was Joe Brown, who was the right hand to the commissioner, or whoever it was, one of the PR guys, like an Aiello. We'd say, we're going. And they'd say, well, where are you going to set up? We want to know where you are. And what we used to do is we'd set up in a hotel usually, or someplace that was really in proximity to the stadium. Like if in New Orleans, when we went, we were on that walkway of the Hyatt that's right across from the building where you can actually walk into the building. Yeah. So people would go in the building and come to us. And we'd always, like in Tampa, we set up in a hotel for the Super Bowl Bills and Giants, and we were the only show there. And we'd actually get people from the teams come to the hotel to do our show.
From the actual teams in the Super Bowl?
Yeah. We had guys from the Giants on that week. We had George Young at 5 o'clock on that Friday. We did interviews with Parcells. I mean, we had fans all over the place. We had so many fans there that they had hired a band to put on that day all afternoon. They sent the band home because the people wanted to watch our show and not listen to the band. So they actually sent the band home because we had literally thousands of people in the hotel watching us do the show. And we had like great guests, and we had the run of the place. And then into the 90s, the first time I ever noticed even another show was the Dallas-Buffalo game that was in LA. In Pasadena. That year, there were a couple other shows. Then I noticed a couple more shows. So I said, what is this, like a Radio Row? And this was like, all of a sudden, what used to happen was we were the main show. Yeah. So what the shows used to do was they strategically say, can you place us near Mike and the Mad Dog, so that when the guest would leave us, they would like stand there, producers would like line up, and they would just try to just jump on our guest. And like I was like, looking at them cringing as they'd jump on the guy, whoever it was, and then they'd be like, some people like, can we do it on the phone because, or John Madden would say, can we do it on the phone because I can't go down there because now I got to do all these other shows. And then some people started doing it on the phone because there were too many shows. Yeah. And then it just exploded. I don't know what year. Actually, it exploded to the point now where it is. I mean, now it's not even anything that has any realness to it, because you can't even bring anybody near that place. There's so many shows, and now you have all the broadcast entities. Like Sirius has like 4 sets, and CBS Network, if they're doing stuff, or whatever sports network it is, they all have stuff. ESPN is so big they go off on their own and do it. They don't even show up on Radio Row. So, but there's so many levels to it now. There's almost like 4 or 5 levels to the broadcasting of the week that I find it to be almost so antiseptic that there's not any realness to it anymore. I find it unappealing. I really do. And maybe because I've been doing this since like 1980, that it's just it doesn't have any appeal anymore. I'm not even going this year because I don't like going there to do radio anymore. I really don't like it. I tried to do it away one year, so I left Radio Row, and I got criticized a lot for that and put myself by myself.
By who?
By a lot of people who said I was just trying to be different and being difficult and this and that, which everyone always says I'm trying to be difficult all the time. And I'm not. Sometimes I try to be unique. I don't try to be difficult. I just don't like to be like everybody else.
Yeah, of course.
So, but then the NFL didn't want me. They called me and said, we don't want to send guests to you. We have security issues. And then they start worrying about, well, we have to be able to protect our guests. And then the NFL sold out. They sell tickets.
No.
To that now, which is just absolutely the NFL, which makes so much money that they have to sell tickets to the media events on Friday, is just gross. It's actually obnoxious that they've gone to that level. So they've ruined that thing on so many levels. It just doesn't have any appeal anymore.
So you're not
going? No, I'm not going. I'm doing shows from here.
And the shows that go are stupid, or they're
I mean, listen. If it's really, listen. It's where you are. If I was starting out, I'd be there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't complain. See, you're in a position to do things your way or you're not. If I was just starting out, if this was 1986 or 85 or 87, no, I just go and do what I'm told to do. I mean, but when we did that, we were the only ones there. But now, if you have to start out, listen, I'm not on all these social media. I don't have to do that. But if you're starting out now, you have to do that. I mean, you have to understand you're going to have to do apps and podcasts and be on every form of social media, and you're going to have to promote your show in every way and do all the different things that they want you to do now. So if you come in as a new kid now, you have to do a show. You have to do all kinds of podcasts. You have to do all kinds of digital stuff. You have to do all kinds of raps and do all the things. That's just part of the business now.
Yeah.
But I don't have to do that where I am right now because I'm already a brand. So, listen, it would be very different. But I don't think you can follow my recipe and do it now. I think it's impossible.
Anymore.
No, and you can't follow my recipe because I don't have to do that stuff to get attention.
Yeah.
I get too much attention, so way too much attention. Okay, more than I want. So from that standpoint, I just view it differently, and it's not being difficult. It's just trying to be. I've always tried to be unique. I don't want to be like I never wanted to be like everybody else.
Yeah, that's why you are where you are.
That's always been my way of doing it. That's just what I believe in how to direct my career, is to not just try to be like everyone else is.
Well, let me ask you, if you were starting out now with, the media landscape the way it is, and how there's so many different kinds of radio and satellite radio and places to get content, what would you do to stand out now?
First of all, I would do a local show. I would never do national show, because national show, there's no way of knowing if you're doing good, well or badly. You are just taking some executive who might know nothing about what he's doing. He might not know a good show from a bad show if it come up and bit him on the rear end, okay? But you're going to get judged by, on that kind of show, something that really you don't have any control over. Be somewhere where you can do a local show where you are going to have revenue or ratings that you produce. Something that you produce yourself, that there's a tangible way of saying, hey, I am either doing a really bad job because I have no listeners and I don't have any advertising, or I'm doing a good job because I have a lot of listeners and a lot of viewers and I have a lot of advertising. So I think you need a way to keep score. And when you do it nationally or do it in any way where there's not ratings and revenue to judge, you're in trouble, because there's no then objective way to judge whether you're doing a good job. Because ratings and revenue are how you judge if you're doing a good job, because that's all that counts.
So does that tie in with why you've said before you don't care for a simulcast as much as you did when you first started doing them?
It's not necessary anymore. The simulcasts have become, listen, we did simulcasts for 12 years.
Right.
And I noticed, and the Fox thing didn't work out for anybody, and it wasn't anybody's fault. It was my fault. I took the blame. It was also Fox's fault. You know what it was? The thought of us was better than us.
Yeah.
what Fox thought of me and what I thought of Fox were better than when we were together.
It's like relationships I've
Bingo.
had in my life
Exactly.
before.
It's exactly the same thing. They had plans for me, I had plans for them, but the plans didn't mesh with what reality was. So it never worked out. I went after them because they came after me very hard and gave me a lot of money. And also it was intriguing to do something different. They had a plan, but they changed their plan so many times that they never really gave the plan a chance to work. So we both were in the wrong place at the wrong time, so we just needed to end it as quickly as we could, and we did. So that's fine. But I'm not against the simulcast, but it is not a necessary part of my show where I am right now. It's not necessary at all.
Let's talk about your fans, because you have some crazy passionate fans.
Great fans.
Mongo Nation.
Mongo Nation, yes.
You don't have Twitter
No.
or social media.
Well, there's a lot of fake ones, but there's no real ones.
Exactly. That
Right.
should be noted. That somebody may think
There are
one of
like
the fake ones
14
is.
fake ones, I think.
I think 14 is lowballing
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
There's
no,
a lot.
There's a lot, yeah.
How much of the interactions that your fans have with your show on Twitter do you see or
None.
hear? None.
Only what my producer tells me.
And that's probably only the good stuff.
No, he tells me the bad stuff too, but only stuff that somebody brings to my attention. I don't look at it and I don't participate, and I don't mind it. You know, that has opened up a whole new avenue to me, and that's the biggest change in my life, has been not the show, because, you know, we do things in stages in life. There was the Mike and the Mad Dog had to learn to live together stage. The Mike and the Mad Dog had to learn to live with success stage. The years we spent together, and then the split up where was it going to be successful or not when we went our separate ways, especially with me having the show that was going to be very easy to quantify. So the pressure of that. And then past that, when that I had jumped that hurdle, which was a hurdle that was important to me, then this whole thing started with the internet and with the digital world and the social media, and somehow I became some kind of
Sports
folk hero
pope.
to these people, and I just started to notice them showing up at places and reacting, and everything was getting larger and bigger, and the regular media caught on to it, and then I started treating differently to the point where, you know, I'm treated now like way past what a media person should be treated as. I'm treated like a regular celebrity, which is crazy. It really is. I mean, I get so much attention wherever I go. It's nuts, and it's really been this way the last 5 or 6 years, but it keeps growing and growing, and it's still been growing. It's wild. And it's this whole Mongo Nation thing. They're the most crazy, loyal fans that I ever have encountered. They're wild. I mean,
I've never seen anything like it.
No, either have I. FrancesaCon blew me away. I had no idea. I was not prepared for it.
Yeah, so FrancesaCon, is this the second?
It's this weekend, the third one.
The third one.
I didn't go to the first one.
You didn't.
No, and I promised
They
to go to the
had a
second one.
convention in your honor, and you didn't go to it.
Well, I thought
you are so famous.
I didn't know what it was, to be honest with you. I had never heard of SantaCon at the time. I did not know the concept.
What about Comic-Con?
I had no idea of any of them.
All
so
right.
when I heard of FrancesaCon, I'm like,
what about Con Air?
No, I hadn't heard any of that stuff. So here's the thing. I didn't know that they dressed up like Santa Claus. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, then I hear they're going to dress up like me, and I'm like, this can't be serious. I didn't think it was real. I thought it was a spoof. Like, I figured if I went there, there'd be nobody there. So then
How'd you find out about it?
Well, a couple people started bringing it to my attention. You know, they're having this thing. Then they gave me a place where I show up at this bar.
Yeah.
And then they had it at like 10 bars. And then they tell me they sold out every bar. And they said, and then they show me the video from the place, and it's mobbed. And I'm like, this is insane. And then people started asking me my reaction to it. The newspapers started asking my reaction to it. The news reporters were coming from the TV stations asking my reaction to it. And I said, you know, it's obviously, you know, it's very nice. It's, you know, what can you say? You know, it's kind of spoofy, but it's kind of funny at the same time. And I said, if they have another one, I'll go. So last year, not having any idea, I walk in there, and it is insanity. It is, I mean, the craziest thing I've ever, so everyone in their life should have that kind of ovation. once in their life. I mean, it was like 15 minutes of insanity. It was pandemonium. It was the most crazy thing I ever. Thousands of people. It was insane.
They loved you.
Oh, it was past that. It was ridiculous. And I stood there and took pictures for 4.5 hours.
Oh my God.
Straight. I mean, never moved, not one muscle. I stood there in one place and took a picture with everyone who ever lived. And I was there for like 4 hours. And this year I promised to go back, and they signed a 2-year lease with this place.
Yeah.
So I asked them not to break the lease because I didn't think it was right, and because they wanted a bigger place. And they need a bigger place. They sold it out in 15 minutes this year. So it's this Saturday, and they said snowstorm, no snowstorm, they're having it. And
what's the weather?
We might get a snowstorm on Saturday. So, people, it's amazing. This whole city shrivels up when the idea of snow.
I know.
It's insane. I've never understood that, but it does happen. And I promised to go. And then last year I promised that if I went this year, I would bring a dog with me. So they're all expecting me to keep my promise. And I have not ever uttered a word of whether I will or I won't. They have to wait till Saturday.
But if you don't, then that's kind of a dick move,
I have the
Mike.
nerve. I have the nerve to walk in there without him.
Promise is a promise.
But what if he says no? I mean, I can't drag him there.
You shouldn't have promised.
Well, I just said I promise next year that I will bring him along. So you know what? I will try to keep my promise.
So we talked about your fans. You obviously also have critics.
Oh, everyone does.
Yeah. Funny enough, we share a critic who hates us both. I don't know about hates you. He hates me.
Right.
But we have nothing in common, you and I, so I find that interesting.
Don't worry about it. Listen, okay, how long have you been in the business? How many years?
2, 1.5.
2 years?
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
If I could give you one bit of advice for someone who's been in the business a long time, do not ever let it bother you. Not one day. And some people cannot do that.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tougher now. I mean, you don't have a Twitter. You don't have it directly into your life.
I don't care. I've gotten criticized worse than any 10 people.
That's
okay?
true.
I've gotten criticized full page, back page, 10 pages. I mean, I've got it all. So listen, no one likes it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I like it. No one likes it. But unless you go somewhere and you are doing business and it affects your career, unless you go to get a job and they say, you know what, you're not getting this job because of this criticism, or you're not getting this deal you want because of that criticism. Unless it impacts your life, you got to learn to shake it off, because don't let it bother you. There are going to be nice things said, and there's going to be a lot of lousy things said. That's part of that's what you accept when you accept being in the public eye. You know what? There's not a president who hasn't been absolutely destroyed as well as glorified. I don't care what president it is. From the top to the bottom. Vilified, honored in the same breath, okay? You have to understand, it's what you sign up for. Don't sign up for it. Don't go sign autographs. Don't go get commercials. Don't go make a lot of money if you won't realize the downside is people are going to critique you and criticize you. It's like a ball player. Don't tell me you sign up for the boos, you sign up for the cheers. Mm-hmm. That's part of being in the public life.
Yeah.
So I understand that, and I'm telling you this, if you talk to someone who really knows me, if you talk to anybody, if you talk to my wife, if you talk to anyone who really knows me well, they would tell you he never lets it bother him a minute. And I don't. I do not. I never have, and I just don't, because I understand it's part of the deal. It's just, it's part of the game.
Nowadays, there's sort of this emphasis put on opinions of people that in the past never really had a voice. So the average everyday person on Twitter, you'll see someone will, if someone says the wrong thing, there's this call for like, get them fired, where everybody on Twitter wants to get a person fired for a thing they said. Do you feel like that's going to start, like, it's different now?
No, it's not real. It's not. Listen,
but
first
it is.
of all,
People get fired because of that stuff.
No, they don't.
Sometimes
not if
they do.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but
no,
I mean, one
because the
mistake.
people making the decisions aren't looking at that stuff. Listen, first
you
of all,
didn't get nitpicked. You have the benefit of not being as nitpicked as it is now.
I get killed. I mean, I understand that. First of all, anything that people can critique anonymously,
Yeah.
they're going to destroy.
Right.
Because first of all, you don't even know who those people are. They might be someone who doesn't even have a life. They might be someone who never even leaves their home. They might be someone who doesn't have a job. It might be someone who's like just a worthless human being who might write the most scathing thing in the world. You gonna let that bother you? Of course not. Listen, there's real criticism where people are professionally paid to criticize you, and still you have to let that slide off your back. And then there's the stuff that comes now from social media where they kill everything. Basically, that's part of they kill everything. So every part of that anonymous critiquing of things is you're allowed to just wail on it. And they'll always wail on whatever they can wail on. It's not real, so don't worry about it. You'll know if you're doing a good job. First of all, you'll get jobs. Secondly, people will want to hire you. They'll want to re-sign you. You'll go to jobs and always, like I said, be able to keep score for yourself, which is important, because you don't want to just hear that some executive who may or not like you personally. You don't want that person just deciding your career subjectively.
Yeah.
You want to say, here's my batting average, which is what I've always liked about local radio more than anything else. I get a batting average. They keep score. I know. I'm 1, I'm 2, I'm in the ratings, I'm here. Now, do I like that? Yeah, because I'm always 1, so I like that. I mean, that's why I like it, okay? So I wouldn't like it if I was 20th.
I don't want to see the ratings of ours because I'll be like 100.
Right, but if you have shows that don't have ratings, then how do you know if you're really doing a good job? Because someone might say, I like that girl. Someone might say, I don't like that girl. It's subjective.
Yeah.
You want objective. You don't want subjective in this business. You want to be able for someone to see that you're doing a good job, or to prove that you're doing a good job on paper. That's what I love about local radio, because there is a scorecard. You get a batting average. You get to keep a 1-loss record.
Do you keep track of it so much that you notice when you do certain things you go up in the ratings, and when you do other things you go down in the ratings? Does it affect the way you do your content?
No.
No?
No, but do we tweak things? Yes. Is there a game to it? Yes. Do we pay attention to it? Enormously. First of all, my producers and people who work for me pay attention to it because they get paid for finishing first. They get no bonuses if they don't finish first.
Oh, wow.
Nothing. So we
should work out a system like that here.
They tackle me when the ratings come out. They care more about the ratings than I do. So I don't get paid on the ratings.
Yeah.
I finish first because if I don't finish first,
if you're not first, you're last.
If I'm not first, I'm not breathing. So but I don't get paid by the ratings. I did in the beginning. I don't anymore. I don't get any bonuses or anything like that.
How many years did you, until you didn't have to do that? They stopped
after like 3 years of giving us bonuses, because we were finishing first every time.
Yeah.
So they paid us to be first. And then they just said, if you're not first, we pay you to be first, so be first. And that's it. I had one guy call me up once and say, when I was second, say, I pay you to be first, and hung up the phone. So I understood the message. Okay. So that's a true story. I pay you to be first. Click.
So what did you do the next day at work?
I wasn't happy. I'm never happy if I don't finish first, but I try to share the wealth, so my guys get paid, and you can ask them, he's sitting right there, you can ask him, they get paid for finishing first, and they don't get anything if they don't finish first. That's the bottom line. And they share the wealth when they get first.
Which is always. You're always
first. No, not always first. I mean, we finished second a bunch of times. Anything less than second is like out of space.
It's really bad.
That's out of space.
Who's in second?
It could be a rock station.
You don't even notice.
Well,
or care.
it could be. In our competition, it could be Light FM. It could be CBS FM. It could be a rock station. It could be a Spanish station and stuff like that. That's what we're talking about. When we mean first of all the stations. We don't mean first. We're not trying to beat the sports stations. We're trying to beat every station.
And you're doing it.
I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. No big deal.
30 years.
That's a long time.
Long time.
I've almost been alive that long.
I've been alive twice that long. A scary thought. That is a scary thought. Because I can actually sit here and think about when we started and what it was like, and how, what your dreams are, and how much to be in our business. You have a lot of ego and you have a lot of aspirations, but you also have a lot of performance anxiety because you want to be good. Right. And it's a very competitive business, as you know. Yeah. And there's a lot of competition, and it's hard to break through. And we all have the stories. I mean, I could tell you the stories that when I went to FAN, I was working at CBS. I was behind the scenes at CBS. and I had just started getting into television on the air. I was behind the scenes. I worked for Brent Musburger, and I was his right-hand man and his information. I wasn't his brain. He had his own brain. I was his information man, and that was my job. And then Nance came, and I broke Nance into the business the same way, and was working with both of them at the time. And it was actually Musburger on a plane said to me, you know, the sports radio, you'd be really good at that. And I said, you know, it's funny, I did a book with the late Pete Axel, who was a great writer and a great guy. And I did a football book with him, and he was a great writer. I was a ham and egger. He was a great writer, okay? I was just a kid who knew about football. He was a brilliant writer. And he did a book with me. And John Walsh, who ESPN, you know, John, he edited the book. And we did it a couple of years in a row. And part of the thing with Random House was I had to go do interviews with all the different sports talk shows at the time to promote the book. That was part of doing the book. And the first time we did the book was 1983. And did the show. I was a kid. And the producer says to me, you're going to come on and do a half hour? I said, yeah. You're going to be on with X? I said, yeah. He says, where's your notes? And I said, notes? I said, I don't need any notes. He goes, you don't have any notes. I said, this guy doesn't have any notes. This is the producer. I mean, you know what I mean? I said, don't worry about any notes. So I sat down and did the show. When I left the show, I said, man, I am so much better than that host. It's ridiculous. I said, I said to someone I was with, I said, I'm not going to say who it was. I said, I could do this. I'm so much better than that host. It's ridiculous. I could do better than him without even trying. So they said, yeah, you should try this. So I didn't think about it. I went back to CBS. I was flying on a plane one time with Musburger, and he said, you know, you'd be really good doing that. And I said, yeah, I was thinking of trying it. So FAN was starting, and I went there, and I couldn't get in the door. I couldn't even they brought me in, they said, you're too qualified to be a producer. I said, I don't want to be a producer, I want to be on the air.
Yeah.
I said, I wanted a show. And they said, what are you, nuts? We're bringing in the biggest guys in the country. I said, I'm telling you I could do this, just give me a chance. Nothing. I called them back 15 times. They rejected me 15 times.
Wow.
15 times. They said no. I called the 16th time. And they finally gave me, with a little nudging, somebody made a call on my behalf. And they gave me a weekend show on Saturday morning. They liked it, and they gave me a show on Sunday morning. And then within 3 months, I was filling in for the hosts, and that was it.
And the rest is history.
It took me 15 times over like 4 months of rejection. I got rejected 15 times, maybe more.
And you just kept calling?
Yeah.
What'd you say every time?
I said, you want to reconsider it? No. And they were respectful to me because I had a pretty good job at CBS, so they knew I wasn't some guy who...
Just a bum.
Yeah, I wasn't a bum off the street, you know. So they knew I knew my stuff, but they were like, no. I said, just give me it. No. And it was no. They were bringing in guys from all over the country. They didn't have a clue how to do local radio. They were the most lost people in history. And until they figured out that you had to do New York radio with New Yorkers and local and not bring guys in from all over the country who knew nothing about New York, it wasn't going to work. And then obviously they kind of figured that out.
Are you a New Yorker? I couldn't tell.
No, I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah, that's where you're from? I thought I could have swore you were from the South.
And I tell you, I loved what Trump did with Cruz, because you know what? Everyone's always beating up New Yorkers for no reason. You know what? And we are good people, and we are tough people. But you know what? I didn't like Ted Cruz. And I never get upset by that, but I thought Ted Cruz was way out of line. Way out of line. But go ahead.
I'm shocked that you thought Ted Cruz was way out of line. Let's talk about March 30th, your reunion show.
Yes.
With Mad Dog, which now we know if you're going to bring him to FrancesaCon, then that technically would be the reunion.
No, I didn't say we're going to perform.
Oh.
If we show up, we're just going to say hello.
And then he's going to smile
like
and
presidential
bounce.
thing, just wave and just that's it. That's it.
Take pictures for 5 hours.
Oh, no, we just go by in a car, wave. That's it.
We should get him a Pope mobile. Quite literally.
Pope stuff.
So you're doing a reunion show March 30th at Radio City.
Yes.
For the Garden of Dreams Foundation.
Yes.
So why now, after all these years?
It's a great question.
Thank you.
It was the right person who asked, because it would have taken the garden to put it together. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because first of all, there were a lot of components. CBS had to say yes, my company.
Yeah.
Because they own the rights to Mike and the Mad Dog.
The name.
They own the name.
Yeah.
We thought we needed the name. I thought we needed the name. they had to go ask for permission from Sirius. Okay? Sirius, to be honest with you, was a little more leery of them doing it than my guys were. There were a lot of things that had to come together. The Garden and Jim Dolan, they got a lot of clout. So they were able to pull all this together and go ask Les Moonves, and he said yes. Go ask the guys at Sirius, they said yes. Dolan did all that. So when Dolan did it, it was yes fast. He did it in like 2 minutes. 2 phone calls, bing, 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 he got it all done.
Wow.
He got all the yeses. Dog and I both agreed to do it because the guy who asked us has been a friend of ours for a very long time, Barry Watkins. And he's a good friend of mine, he's a good friend of Dog's. So he actually asked Dog first, I gather, that's my understanding. He asked Dog, then he asked me. Dog had said yes, I said yes, we thought it was for a good cause. And I'll tell you, Radio City was very appealing. The idea, I mean, Radio City is the big time. I mean, I never fathomed being in Radio City Music Hall. Plus the idea, that's a big place. I had just seen Adele with my wife in Radio City Music Hall.
You went to see Adele?
I did. My wife loves Adele.
Yeah.
So
Who doesn't?
I took her to see Adele. They had that show that was on TV. They had taped it a month earlier.
Yeah.
That was her comeback from years off. So we went that night, and I just sat there. And
What's your favorite Adele song?
Her favorite?
No, your favorite.
I don't really have one, but I think she really, I'll tell you this, I've heard most great female singers. I saw Judy Garland when I was a little boy.
Whoa.
Luckiest day of my life. Listen, my mom got me off the baseball field. I didn't have a dad, and she said, you're going with me, I have tickets tonight. And I said, no, I got to play in this game. She said, you play in 1,000 games, you're going with me tonight. I yelled at her all the way there for 40 minutes, and I still remember it my whole life. Westbury Music Fair, August night, 1967, Judy Garland. And she got a standing ovation after every song. And she brought her daughter on the stage, Liza Minnelli, and Peter Allen was her piano player, and her husband. And she sang Cabaret, which she won the Academy Award for a couple of years later, that night in that arena. And she got a standing ovation, Judy Garland. And the last song, she sat on the floor and sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Wow.
So I saw her. I saw Julie Andrews in person. I saw Celine Dion in person. I've seen Barbra Streisand in person. This girl can sing with any of them.
Wow.
She has got one of the great voices. She is an incredible talent and a nice personality where she's funny.
Yeah.
And she curses a lot, which is really funny because she's got a really foul mouth, which is funny to see because she's like a nice girl sitting there in a gown. She doesn't move or anything, She's chubby. I mean, she's not, this is not, a dancer. She's out there in a gown singing.
Yeah.
She doesn't move at all, but she's funny because she talks a lot during the thing and she curses all the time. So she's actually pretty funny, but she has got a killer voice. Immense talent. That's why people gravitate to her. That voice is unbelievable. It's
pretty amazing.
It's amazing.
And so you're going to be on that same
See,
stage.
Adele's not, like to you, Adele's like not good, right?
Yeah, no, she's great.
Is that okay?
Oh my gosh, she's amazing.
Are you like uncool if you like Adele?
I don't think so. I don't think she's crossed over into Coldplay yet. I think you can still like her. And it's cool.
See, like Coldplay for now. I like that one song.
Which one?
What's it? The La Vida Loca, is that the name of the song?
Well, that's
Something?
Ricky Martin.
Wait a second. No. The one. What's the name of that song?
Viva La Vida.
Whatever it is. I know the song. Okay, that song. That's a good song. Okay. And I know he was married to Gwyneth Paltrow, who I think's cute. Okay,
Yeah.
That's
good.
It. But otherwise, if you ask me somebody else in that band, I would have no idea. I
don't think
if you asked me
anybody
for another
would.
one of their songs, not a chance in the world.
Well, you got Livin' La Vida Loca, so you know the
Coldplay,
hit.
not a chance in the world. Not a chance in the world.
But Adele, you love.
The Beatles, yes. Rolling Stones, yes.
Oh, those are controversial opinions.
Well, I mean, listen, that's what I grew up with. I mean, I never liked Led Zeppelin. I never liked heavy rock. I hate, like, if you ask me, like, those real, like, Grand Funk Railroad or even the crazy the Megadeth, all those crazy ones with the guitars. I hate that stuff.
Like Black Sabbath?
Oh, Black Sabbath. Or what's the other one that's really big?
AC/DC?
Yeah, and who's got Enter Sandman? Who's that?
Metallica.
Metallica. I would never. If Metallica played my backyard, I'd draw the blinds. I mean, okay. I mean, give me a break. I mean, you gotta be.
Draw the blinds.
I mean, man, that's not music. I couldn't even listen to that.
Not into that.
No, I took my daughter to see Took my daughter to Jingle Ball the last 2 years. I had to put those things in my ears.
Oh, yeah.
Man, some of this stuff is such garbage. It's unbelievable. There's a couple of talented kids. The only kid that jumped out at me this year was the kid, Charlie Puth. Charlie Puth. He's a piano player. He had talent. He had a hit song this year.
Charlie Puth.
You know who he is?
No.
Oh, man.
The faces in this room, nobody knows who this is.
You guys don't know this. This guy had a great hit this year. It's a song where there's a rapper in the song and him in the song at the same time about a kid who died in a car accident. What's the name of the song? It's a hit song this year. Yeah, you see, I know this and you guys don't, so how uncool are you guys?
We're very uncool.
This kid is really talented. He had a big hit this year. Tell me what the name of his song was. See You Again.
With Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I do know that
Khalifa.
song.
That's a good song,
You're
that
not
song.
wrong. I do know that
Oh, yeah, and you guys don't. See, how cool am I? I'm 60. I'm 60 and I know this stuff, and you don't even know it. I mean, that's unbelievable. That kid was good.
He's good.
He had talent.
That's it, though, other than him.
That day, I mean, Taylor Swift I've seen like 4 times, and my daughter loves her. She is really good.
You've
I
seen
like
Taylor
her.
Swift 4 times?
Yeah. I've seen her at the Garden. I saw her do Jingle Ball, close Jingle Ball, because my daughter worships Taylor Swift.
Everybody does.
Emily is 11. She worships Taylor Swift. So, and she got to meet her, and, and she could not have been nicer. She's a nice kid, and I tell you, I think an incredibly talented young lady. Writes her own stuff, performer. I think she's great.
You know that part where she brings people up on stage, famous people? Did she bring you up?
No, she don't know who I am from a hole in the wall. But she was very nice when we met her. But I'll tell you something. I saw her at Giant Stadium because I took my daughter and I just together, two of us.
Aww.
Last August, just me, she and I, out to Giant Stadium to see her again. She filled Giant Stadium.
It's crazy.
2 nights in a row.
It's crazy.
And she's great. I think she's great. I think she's an incredible. I like talent.
Yeah.
I like people who are talented. That girl is talented. Plus, she's a good businesswoman, which
True.
I like too. She's made a fortune. You know what? I like people who are smart in business. And she's a talented person who's a very good businessman. Very good businesswoman.
What do you wear to a Taylor Swift concert?
I wore shorts and a t-shirt. It was August.
Did you wear like a Taylor Swift t-shirt?
God, no. Listen, I've never worn a t-shirt with a face on it or a name on it in my life, and I've never worn a jersey with somebody else's name in my life.
Never one time.
I've never owned one, and I will never own one. I said I would never wear something with somebody else's name on my body. The only idol I ever had, sports idol, was Mickey Mantle. And I would never wear his jersey. Never. It's his jersey, not mine. But that's just me. Would I wear a Taylor Swift shirt? Never. Never. But I have great respect for her. I like watching talent. Like, I can still go watch Billy Joel, and I'm amazed that anybody ever put together that body of work. You see him, or you see Paul Simon, or you see Springsteen, and you realize or even Elton John too. They just have they've been able to do it for so long, and be so consistently good, and still be able to captivate an audience. And I understand he hasn't written anything in 20 years. He kidded about that when I saw him recently. But the songbook, the body of work, the amount of work they've put together. Amazing stuff.
Are you best friends with Billy Joel? I feel like you're best friends with him.
I met him once. I've met all those guys once. I don't know any of them.
In my mind, you guys sit around and eat steaks.
No. I'd like to, but no. I've only met him one time. I've met each one of those guys. I've met Springsteen once. I met Billy Joel once. That was it. I met Springsteen with Dog, which was the funniest thing in the world. Because Dog is like, I'm a Springsteen fan. Dog is like a Springsteen groupie.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost had to hold him back. He hugged him for like the 4th time. I had to pull him off Springsteen. I said, Bruce, let me get him. Wait a second. I had to pull him. I had to restrain him and hold him over here. And, Bruce is sitting there talking to us, and I had to hold him over here because he was going to jump on him and hug him one more time.
That's embarrassing.
No, it was. He he was going to jump on him again. I mean, he was that crazy about it. He really was. Dog, you got to remember, Dog, if Springsteen's playing 8 nights, Dog will go 7.
That's
and then
insane.
He'll write down he'll go he changed the song set, and I'm like, you need help. You need help. I mean, he'll say, last night in this slot he played Rosalita. I'm like, you need help. You're keeping score of his songs, you idiot. I mean, you need help.
Hey guys, more with Mike Francesa coming up in a minute, but first, a word from TaxAct.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick, driver of the number 10 Tax-Act Chevrolet in the NASCAR Series. On the racetrack, my deal is going fast, working with my team to get our Tax-Act Chevy in victory lane. Away from the track, my deal is a little CrossFit and yoga to help with balance and concentration. So what's your deal? If your deal's getting the best deal, then go to taxact.com. File simple federal and state returns free. TaxAct is the best deal in tax. Go to taxact.com. You got this.
All right, back to Mike Francesa. So, do you and Mad Dog like hang out still now? No. So, like this reunion
I've seen Mad
is.
Dog, I'll be honest. I've seen Mad. This is truth. That's probably bad to say. I've seen Mad Dog. And we've been apart 8 years. I've seen him 5 times.
Really?
Yeah, I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's. I mean, so this reunion is really a reunion.
Yeah, and you know, we morph right back into who we were, though. Like he'll start telling me secrets. I mean, like we'll talk about things that are like we wouldn't talk about with somebody else. As soon as we sit down, like we could tell each other, and you know, I mean, we know so much about each other that we could talk about things or talk about business or talk about our lives or whatever, and we could like morph right back into that when I haven't seen him in like 2 years. It's weird that we have that relationship. It's like we're related, but we never see each other. We are kind of tied at the hip in a way because, you know, we owe our careers to each other, and that's a fact. I mean, listen, I have had great success. I've had great success since we split up, but I wouldn't be here if there wasn't Mike and the Mad Dog. Mike and the Mad Dog made my career. I'm not an idiot. I know that. Dog knows it too. We put something together that was, you know, iconic, and it really gave us a chance to do everything we do. So yeah, I understand what Mike and the Mad Dog means to me. It's a very special part. I'm very protective of Mike and the Mad Dog. It's the best sports show of all time. I mean, I'm very protective of it.
Why would you say then you guys haven't really seen each other as much? Just
because, you know, we never socialized together. You got to remember something. We spent 30 plus hours on the air. If you take in the time before, after, and if we were traveling, we spent 50, 60 hours together every week.
Yeah.
For 20 years. That's a long time. You spend more time, that's more time than you spend with anybody. And we spent a lot of time together. And there were times, and this is why we were so good. There were times where we would do a show 5.5 hours a day. And we did it for, I'd say, one time 6 months where we never spoke a word off the air. We were that mad at each other. And we would go in and do a 5.5 hour show. Nobody knew that we were fighting. And we would leave and go our separate ways. We would show up in the studio at 1:05, 1:03, and we would do a show, and we would leave. And we would never speak a word. And during commercials, we would never speak a word to each other for 6 months. True story.
wow.
And no one ever knew that we were fighting.
What were we fighting about?
We fought about stupid things. You know, if you have a career, there's always things tugging. When you have a team, a 2-man team or a 2-person team, there's always things going to pull you in different directions. You know, it could have been he wanted to do something and I didn't want to do it, or whatever, you know. One time it was that he wanted to go do an Indiana Pacer game during the playoffs and I didn't want to go. And he got mad that I wouldn't go. I agreed to go and then the plane got delayed, so I left. Yeah, so
It's a little bit different than not going.
It was rotten.
You said you'd go.
Well, they canceled the plane, which I said I had to wait like 3 hours for the next plane. I said no, and I left.
That's
so like
fair.
I went back to the studio and did the show. So like he was like furious. So yeah, listen, I think I was the harder one to get along with, so I'll be the first to admit that. I think he was more pliable than I was. I think sometimes I was more rational, but I think he was much more pliable. I was more difficult. I totally admit I was more difficult. I plead guilty.
How do you find that chemistry with somebody that the two of you had?
You can't find what we had. It's not something you produce. It's organic. It's just something that's there. It's special. Give credit to the guy who saw it. He created a guy, Mark Mason. He had an idea. He thought it would work. We were could not have been more different. We fought like crazy in the beginning. We didn't want the show. We were both very leery of each other because we both had our eye on that show. And we were both starting to do well. And we both had come through the IMA show. And we were both kind of competing. We both had our eye on the same thing. We knew on the same prize we both wanted afternoon drive. We wanted it by ourselves, though. And we knew we were kind of like watching each other at a distance. We both knew we were doing that. And then they come up with this idea of putting us together, and we're like, what are you, nuts? And then we really had a hard time in the beginning. I mean, as a matter of fact, Mason called us in and said, "You're going to get me fired. This is not going to work." And none of us thought it was going to work. And then the first book came out, and we had gone from 11th to 3rd in the ratings book. Now, Sports Talk had never been successful anywhere. Anywhere. It had been at night thing. It had never been in the light of day. It had never been in prime time, drive time. And it had never done well in any city, no less New York. And now we went from 11th, or Pete Franklin was 11th or 12th. I might be light, he might have been 14th. But he was really bad. And then the first book, we're 3rd. And everyone's like, whoa. The second book, we're 1st.
Whoa.
Once that happened, we knew there was never any getting away from each other. We might as well just realize it. Plus, they ripped it up and gave us more money. And all of a sudden, we were like rock stars. So we had so much quick success. Within 7-8 months, we were like big stars. It took off that fast. We started in September. By May and June, we were like the toast of the town. So it happened that first year, that big. We were number 1 the second book we were in. So that was it. We were off and running.
Would you guys ever go back to the two of you having a show?
I don't think I don't think we would be the obstacle. I think the business is the obstacle. I think now, at this stage of our lives, everything has to be right. Number 2, economically, and the business is shrinking, not expanding.
Right.
There's no way they can afford a show as expensive as our show would be.
Let's just say somebody could.
Then I think it would be possible.
Then
But I
you would
don't
do
think
it.
economically it's feasible. Because I don't think either one of us would work for the amount of money that it would take for us to work for to do it. There'd be no reason for us to do it.
Yeah.
So if they could pay us like we both are used to being paid, then I think that, do I think there would be other obstacles? No, I think the obstacle is economic purely. But I think that obstacle will keep it from ever being, the business is shrinking. See, what people don't realize, and this is a good time, I timed it well for this reason. They don't want guys like me in this business anymore.
Why?
They don't want stars. They don't want guys who are making a lot of money. They want a bunch of cookie cutter people that they can control, that aren't in any trouble. Let the events, let the packages, let the games be the stars, and ESPN's doing that. They want just a bunch of guys, nameless, faceless guys. If I asked you right now to give me the name of all the ESPN Sports Center anchors, you think you could do it? There was a time everyone could do it. Now you couldn't. If they were here right now, I wouldn't be able to name 2 of them. I mean, my God, they're nameless, faceless people. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's what the whole business wants now. They want that everywhere. They don't want to pay anybody. And they want people to be interchangeable. So they want the events and the rights fees to carry the day and make the sportscasters and the people interchangeable. And I think that's happening, and I don't think they want to pay anybody anymore. So I think that makes it a tough business.
Yeah, it sounds tough.
It does.
Your deal's up when, 2017?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes.
Is that the year? What's the plan then, Mike?
To ride off into the sunset.
All right.
Hitch up the horse and ride off into the sunset.
Into the sunset. All right.
23 months and counting.
But who's counting?
I just happen to know it's 23 months.
Bill Simmons was on your show recently.
Who?
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Some guy, Bill.
What does he do? He's unemployed, isn't he?
Technically, I think he's employed.
Hasn't he wrecked 18 different places? I mean,
like a-
bankrupt Graceland. I mean, what Grantland or whatever the hell, Grantland, whatever that dumb thing was, Grantland. I mean, the guy bankrupt him with that thing. Collect every writer I can find, overpay him, and then, folks, time to leave.
Then ride off into the sunset.
As he did, HBO. Bill made sure he got his money. I'll guarantee you that. I like Bill, though.
He's a good guy.
He is. I like Bill.
He's a nice guy.
You know what? He's unique. He's unique. I mean, his ego exploded, and that's from someone who has a big ego, as me. So I can see it when when it's there. I mean, his didn't fit in the room anymore. I mean, so, but that's okay. I don't mind that. I mean, that's okay.
But
as long as you perform, it's okay.
When he was on your show recently, he revealed, or you revealed, that you called him about being your co-host.
I did discuss it with him, and in typical Bill fashion,
What year was that you called him?
Right after Dog left. He's the only one I ever called. I got calls from people that if I gave you the list, you would have headlines within the minute you put it out.
Give me one name.
I can't.
Give me
I can't.
one
I have
name.
some that you would not believe.
Give me one name.
I don't want to give up.
One name.
No.
It was so many years ago.
No.
Nobody listens to this podcast.
No, we know that, but I mean, that's why I'm here. I'm trying to make that not happen anymore. I mean,
one name.
A former governor. How's that? That's as far as I'll go.
A former governor?
Yes.
Fine.
That's it. Really? Seriously?
Fine.
Okay. I'm not giving any names.
That's not nice.
Yeah, but you know what? It was a varied group. I'd say Chernoff and I got 200 people call us. Maybe
that
more.
wanted to be your co-host.
Oh yeah, some of them the most amazing. It would be some of the funniest. He's
just going to keep talking about how great the names are, but not great. Give me any of the goddamn names.
I've never revealed a name, never. But it's a great group. I mean, really, we could have a lot of fun laughing about it, but it's a great group. But the bottom line is, I made one phone call. And I called Bill and said, and you know what, Bill in Bill typical fashion said, you can't afford me. I said, Bill, get real, please. I mean, I can't afford you. I mean, so that's typical Bill, but he said he was, tied up in L.A. or whatever. Well, I don't know whatever he was tied up with. I can't remember. But he said, I would love to do it, but I can't do it. I said, okay, good. That was it. He was the only one I ever called. I thought it would be fun. I'll tell you who I would have taken with me if I could have taken him was Mike Breen.
Okay.
Would have been great, but he was obviously busy with his broadcasting because Breen is great. He is funny, and he would have been great doing that show. And I would have loved doing a show with him, but he was busy with the Knicks and the basketball. He was already signed a contract to do the NBA for all those years. He couldn't have been around every day. But he's the guy I would have taken in 2 seconds. And he would have he wouldn't do it only if he was not broadcasting, but he would have been really good doing it.
You also told Simmons that you would do a 30 for 30 on Mike and the Mad Dog. Is that a thing that's really going to happen?
Well, it's being done by ESPN. He has nothing to do with it. I mean, it's being done. We've agreed to do it.
That's exciting.
It's going to be next year, but they've already started actually doing work on it.
That's exciting.
Yes, and it's going to be, they told me 60 minutes, or they believe it's going to be 60 minutes, and it's going to be a 30, guys, some of them are 60 minutes, I gather, so 30 for 30 on us, yes, on our impact on the sports culture. So, yeah, I think, it's really, those things are really well done, and I really believe Mike and the Mad Dog did change a lot of stuff. I think it really did. It changed radio dramatically, but I think it also was at the right time. It changed the sports culture a little bit in some different ways, and so I think it really has its own niche. So from that standpoint, yeah, I think it'll be fun. And Dog and I are going to sit down together and individually for them, but I believe in the summertime. And actually, they're actually taping FrancesaCon this weekend.
Oh, are they?
Yes, and starting to do everything else we do in the next year, because they're going to run this. I believe they're going to show it next January. But they're actually going to be at FrancesaCon this week.
The 30 for 30 thing's kind of surprising though, because you and ESPN didn't always.
No,
have
I've never done anything. I despise ESPN.
Why?
I mean, because they've just everything they do is, they got so big that they forgot how to do sports with any touch. And to me, just the silly stuff they've gotten into, like they stopped allowing any guests to be on my show. Okay, no one who works for ESPN, and some of those people are good friends of mine, are allowed on my show. Yeah. That was petty. It was stupid. It wasn't going to affect anything. It wasn't going to help their local ratings with their ESPN shows. Okay, it wasn't. I mean, if they wanted to fix that radio station, they would have fixed it a long time ago. I mean, they obviously know nothing about radio. We understand that. But, I mean, they could have fixed it a long time ago if they wanted to. They don't want to fix it. So it's there for what it's there for. But to make all those guests who are, a lot of them friends of mine, and a lot of them got in trouble. I mean, some of them have actually said, I'm going to go on. And they've been told, you'll be fired if you go on. So they actually have taken it to that level. So from that standpoint, I don't like how they go about everything now. I hate what they did with the ESPYs. I hate what they've done with a lot of sports. And to me, I remember when I used to go up there in the beginning, and I almost worked there, except I couldn't think of living there. I mean, I just couldn't. Yes, yeah. There was nothing there. There was nothing
Still
there.
barely
And I never
anything
knew
there.
the place was good. It was a guy named, I used to do some work for a guy named Bill Fitz, who was one of the first guys working for, he went up there, was working for, the Cardinals and all the guys up there in the beginning. Guys like Wild Hack were BAs in those days, okay? I mean, you're talking about the 70s. When that place was nothing. It was like one little building in the middle of nowhere. So I'm a kid from Long Island who loves New York City. I couldn't see being up there. I mean, I couldn't even fathom it. But, they had talented people, and they hit it right, and they built an empire. I mean, they are the mothership. Now, it looks like, their day is done. I mean, because, listen, if they don't continue to have the advantage they have, and I don't want to turn this into a technical show, but the bottom line is, if they don't continue to have the cable payment system the way they have it, all of a sudden things are going to change for them. And that's changing now. I mean, it's changing right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
It's going to change for them. But they had this advantage for a long time. And it was an advantage no one else came close to having. They were double dipping is what they were really doing. They were getting paid and charging for commercials. So they had more money and they were overpowering everybody, which was fine. But I just don't like the way they do certain things. But, I mean, listen, ESPN, I tell kids when I talk to kids in college, you're probably going to be touched or working. If you want to be in our business, you're going to somehow bump into ESPN. It's impossible not to. They're like the mothership. I mean, that's the way. But Fox is clearly going after them, and the way they're going after them, they're not going to show a lot of success. But if they stick to it and pound the rock, 7 or 8 years from now, they will catch ESPN. It will take them that long. But if they pound the rock like they're doing now and continue it, and it's going to cost them a lot of money to do it, they will catch ESPN.
You think so?
Yes. It'll take them 8 years to do it. 8 or 9 years. Got to find some talented people. I mean, you first people get weeded out and you get some good people in. Just kidding.
This is fun.
Just kidding.
This is fun.
See, that's just, come on now.
I love it. No, but this
come
is
on.
what I like about you, though. We just talked about how you're going to do a 30 for 30.
Yes.
And then right after, like 3 sentences later, you said, I hate ESPN.
I don't like anything about ESPN.
When you were on Fox Sports 1 with your simulcast, you would say bad things about Fox Sports 1.
Sure.
You don't care.
No, not
you
at all.
You don't give a fuck.
Well, I would never say that word on this thing. That's it. I would never curse. But, I try to be truthful, that's all. And listen, I understand that there's a comfort level. I can go home. I mean, the bills are paid.
Yeah.
That's a nice feeling. If you don't have to worry about it. And, in this business, though, you will get a job. If you have talent and you are a person who's always produced, you will always work. I mean, listen, look at Howard Stern or someone like that. He could kill anybody every day, forever. He's still going to get work because, you know what? He produces. Same thing with Imus. They produce, so they're going to get work. And that's really the bottom line. These guys will look the other way, and they might not like you, but they'll hire you if you really produce. And that's the bottom line. That's what it's really all about. That's why I say have a scorecard and have some way of knowing that you actually can show I have leverage. I really produce some numbers, and it's a business. You can't forget. I never forgot it's a business. And I think a lot of sportscasters don't realize, it's about my art and my craft. No, it's not. You want to make the show really good. You want to be great at what you do, but understand it's also a business. It is a business. Someone is putting money into this and expects a return for their money. It's a business. You can't forget that. If you remember it's a business, you'll be a lot more successful.
And it helps, too, because when you say something polarizing where people like or dislike you, it doesn't matter if they like you or not. You have the numbers to back up that
well, I mean, listen,
them.
I'm just, I'm sure they don't like it. I mean, they get mad at me if I say something about stuff, but I just tell you honestly what I think.
I don't know if I should tell you this, but this podcast that we're doing right now,
right.
Last week's guest on the podcast
was
Craig Carton.
Okay.
You don't like each other?
I don't know if it's that we don't. I don't really feel like I know him personally, but we got off on the wrong foot, and there's no love lost between that show and my show. No, none. Be honest. I gotta be honest. There's no love.
Yeah,
lost.
of course. Yeah. Why wrong foot? What happened?
I don't know. We probably weren't very accommodating to them when they first got there, because we were very loyal to Amos. Now, we didn't try to. If anything, we probably just ignored them. I mean, if I did anything wrong, I probably just ignored them. I didn't promote them. I didn't try to sabotage them. I don't do negative things to people. I don't sabotage anybody. The worst I'm going to do is ignore you. That's it. I don't try to get anybody fired or run anybody down. Or I never do that. I've never done that in my life. But I will ignore. I ignore a lot of people. I admit it. So I just ignored them. And I'm sure they didn't like that. And, I just, there's just no love lost. There's never been anything that was ever positive between that show and me. And that's just the way it's been.
And you just keep it that way.
Yeah,
no one ever wants to work on it.
We have no relationship. Yeah, no, I don't see any reason at this juncture. There's no reason for it. I mean, I guess there was a time where we probably could have salvaged it, but I think it's way past salvaging. I don't think it's possible now. So yeah, I think they don't like me, and I don't really care for them. I think that's fair. And I think a lot of stuff is from my standpoint is misunderstood in that a lot of people. I mean, I'm hard-headed. I admit that, but. See, I'm never out to hurt anybody else, and I don't go after anybody else. I pretty much just try to maintain my business, which don't interfere with my show, and then I don't interfere with anybody else's. I never interfere with the other shows. I never have. So, I mean, I show up and do my show, and that's it. That's my job, and that's it. I do my job.
So 2017, there's no way you ride off into the sunset.
Yeah,
what would you do with your time?
I'm riding off. Let's just say this, okay? I'm leaving Dodge.
Where are you going to go?
I might go to Reno, but I'm leaving Dodge.
Reno? Does anyone go to Reno anymore?
Or all right, let me pick a
more desirable location.
Pick a more desirable location. Saratoga, that sounds good.
Saratoga's nice.
No, my point is that I'm not saying I'm leaving the business.
Yeah.
I'm leaving Monday to Friday, 5.5 hours, FAN. I am bringing the curtain down on that part of the show. And riding off to some greener pastures. I am not saying I'm not going to work again.
You've got to.
I'm not saying I'm not going to do anything ever again. What I'm saying is that part of my life is ending at the end of 17. That is ending. I've agreed to stay through the end of 17. We talked about me leaving earlier. We discussed it. They didn't really want it. They didn't really give me a chance to get out. They never offered me a reasonable way out. So 17 it is. At the end of 17, there will be no more FAN. That I promise.
What do you want to do?
I'd like to do something. There's a couple of things I'd like to do. I'd like to create a couple of things in the new world. I have a couple ideas in the digital world.
In the new world?
In the digital world.
Oh, all right.
I have a couple ideas.
Like what?
I have a couple of really interesting ideas.
I bet you won't tell me any of those either.
No, I got a couple of good ones.
You like to talk about the good things that I can't know about.
And I want to create a new group of broadcasters too.
Give birth to them?
Like a whole, I want to find like 6 or 8 really good ones.
And keep them under you and put them on this digital thing?
I want to give them a voice. I want to give them a chance. I'm going to find them.
You sound like you want to be Bill Simmons.
No, I don't. I have no interest in being Bill Simmons. No interest. I don't write jokes for some bad show. I mean, something like that. I mean, I don't do that. I mean, I work for me. I don't work for anybody else.
Mike Francesa, the next Bill Simmons.
No, God, no. No. What I mean, like, I would like to create. I have an idea, and in that would create. I think there'd be room for other broadcasters in there, and rather than people who have been established. I'd rather it be people who need a place who I think are good and have a chance to have a voice, Yeah, you could be looking for work by then. Who knows?
Probably. If I lived in 2017, I'm probably going to be unemployed. So you can.
You'll be gainfully employed for a while.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
That's your final review.
And really, I'm not saying it because I'm saying it because I think it's true.
I don't think you would say it if you didn't think it was true. You don't strike me as the guy.
No, but I'm not going to say you stink right here. I mean, I wouldn't say that if I thought you were bad. I wouldn't say that. It would be terrible. Are we done?
No, not yet. I got 10 quick questions.
Let's
These
go.
These are fast.
Let's go.
Yeah, doing them fast. These are rapid fire questions. It's called the Garbage 10. You ready for these questions?
Yep.
You don't need to take a nap first or anything? You good? What was the first car you drove?
I've been on the air. I figured this out one time. I've been on the air for over 48 million seconds.
Whoa.
And how people want to categorize 14 of them as being somehow indicative of my career is the most mindless thing in the history of broadcasting.
It's endearing.
It's 14 seconds of a career of over 45 million seconds on the air of award-winning broadcasting. So.
Are you ready for these questions?
Yes.
What was the first car you drove?
A Chevy 2.
Just the second Chevy ever made.
No, I didn't say a Model T,
2?
you idiot. I said a Chevy 2. A 1964 Chevy 2.
Ranch?
I paid $100 for it.
What, $100?
My brother was a car dealer. He got it wholesale. He was a car dealer.
Like made it sound like back in my day, cars only cost $100.
And listen, it was a little boxy little car. It was 17.
Ranch or blue cheese?
Ranch or blue cheese? No, I don't like either.
What do you dip your wings in?
Nothing.
Okay. What was the first concert you ever went to?
Oh, that's a good question. I think Fleetwood Mac.
It's a good one.
I think Fleetwood Mac. I think Fleetwood Mac.
I won't fact check
I'm not positive,
That's
but I'd
fine.
say Fleetwood. Well, I did see a lot of Westbury Music Fair with my mother when I was a kid.
Yep.
Saw Tony Bennett, saw
Judy
Sammy
Garland.
Davis Jr., Judy Garland. But I'd say I've seen Frank Sinatra in person 3 times.
Whoa.
That's big.
Whoa.
But I'd say concert. I'd say Fleetwood Mac.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Superman.
Of course.
Because he looks like me.
We'll let that slide. Do you put ketchup on top of your fries or on the side?
On the side.
What's your guilty pleasure television show?
Guilty pleasure television show. I'd say recently The Affair.
Ooh,
I love The Affair.
it's a good one.
My wife and I watch The Affair. My wife and I have shows. We have to always be watching a show at some time. We just started watching Billions, which I don't know if it's going to be that good because it wasn't that good the first show. But we watch Homeland. We watch The Affair. So The Affair, and we watch Downton Abbey too, but it's kind of nothing left. But The Affair was really good.
I gotta
really
watch
good.
it. I haven't seen it yet.
You didn't watch The Affair?
Not yet.
Oh, you got to watch The Affair. The Affair is really good.
All right.
Really good.
Do you floss before you brush your teeth or after?
I don't floss much. I brush my teeth a lot, though. A lot.
How much is a lot?
Like 3-4 times a day. Like I brush them after every meal if I'm home because I just don't. Just because I don't like having food in my teeth.
Do you have a toothbrush at work?
No.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, but look, you have teeth like this. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Your good teeth.
Yeah, good teeth. Yeah.
Do you? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Who the hell cares? I mean, that's a stupid question. Throw that question out. I mean, that's like even a dumb question. That's not even like throw it out. Take the card and just flip it.
Yes or no?
Flip it.
Yes or no?
Not even answering. It's a dumb question.
Yes?
Flip it. Who cares is my answer.
Or the whole internet? Do you consider a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
No. There it is. Got
No.
it.
What a dumb question.
What was the last movie you went to see in the theater?
Not counting kids' movies, because I take my kids to the movies. But as far as a regular movie, like adult movie,
For adults.
would be.
I don't want to know the last adult movie you saw, Mike, but maybe the last movie
I'm
you
not talking
saw.
about Last Tango in Paris here. Let me see. Last movie I saw, I can't remember.
Cool, good answer.
I can't remember. I like the. See, I'm a movie watcher. See,
Yeah.
here's the advantage I have.
Okay.
Is that I'm a SAG member. So as a SAG member, I vote and I get all the movies
screeners.
home.
Yeah.
So I get to watch them all at home. So the one I'm going to watch today is the movie about the Catholic Church, Spotlight. That's what's next up. That's what we're watching.
It's a good one.
I want to watch Carol, and I want to see Carol because I love Kate Blanchett. And Rooney Mara's in there too, so I want to see that movie. And then I also want to see. I cannot watch The Reverend. I don't care. I'm not watching Grizzly Adams. I don't care if Leonardo wins the Academy Award. It's Grizzly Adams. I mean, I'm not watching that. Okay, I can't stand wilderness movies or outer space movies. I'm not watching either one. Okay.
What?
I like
Star Wars?
I've never watched a Star Wars ever. Never seen one. If it has a robot or outer space, you can keep it. Here's movie making to me. Okay.
This is ludicrous.
This is boy gets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back. Good triumphs over evil. That's filmmaking.
Good triumphs over evil is Star Wars.
Hey, Star Wars, please. I mean, I don't. If it's in outer space, I'm out. I've never seen a Star Wars. I don't watch any science fiction ever. Go.
Why?
Oh, it's tedious.
It's not real. You can't relate.
No, I don't care. Buzz yourself. Leave me alone. I don't care. Leave me alone with that stuff.
I don't even
those
know what
ray
that
guns,
means.
the whole thing. I mean, come on, who cares?
Okay,
Jeez.
that's just a bad opinion, but we'll move on. Last
Star
question.
Wars, please.
This is your last question.
Good, thank God. What?
You're about to be put to death.
Oh,
Thank God.
what a nice question.
Yeah.
I mean, jeez.
It's not even over yet. What's your final meal? Entree, dessert, and beverage.
Something that keeps me alive longer.
That's not. You
How about human growth hormone so I can stay alive? I don't want to go. But no, thank you very much, dear, for having me. Thanks, I got the earring.
I loved it. It made me so happy. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
This
Thank
was
you.
fun. Thanks again to Mike Francesa for throwing us all into a crazy, I don't even know, like a tiff over here of like, what do we do? I think he said something no one's ever said before. Okay, it's time for junk mail.
You've got junk mail.
Today's junk mail question comes from good friend Dave Lozo.
January Joneso.
Oh.
I'm excited to see what his name's going to be for February. He's been changing it every month. It's pretty exciting stuff. Keep up the good work, Lozo.
For sure. He asked us if you could smell only one smell for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Wow. Wow.
It's funny because I thought about this the other day, not necessarily this question, but the fact that there's that saying, wake up and smell the roses, and I hate the smell of roses.
Wow.
Rose-scented things, like they make a lot of like rose female products, like lip glosses and stuff. I hate that smell. It smells like your grandmother. It's like right under mothballs on list of scents that remind you of old folk.
Feel you on that?
Yeah.
How is that a thing? Generational smells.
Yeah.
I don't know. We should
Yeah.
we should do a whole podcast on it.
Yeah.
One smell for the rest of my life. It might be freshly brewed coffee.
Oh,
I like that.
good
Strong.
answer.
Yeah, because especially if you've been doing like Keurig for a while or you're not used to brewing an actual pot, when you brew a pot, it always smells better than it tastes, but it just smells so good.
That's awesome.
What about you?
I'm gonna have to go with bacon.
Oh, good.
Bacon's a good, also usually smells better than it tastes. A bad piece of bacon still smells great.
Wow.
Even more reason, just like, let me just have the smell.
That's a good answer.
And it also reminds you of like mornings, waking up and having breakfast made for you, or what, like it takes you, scents
Yeah.
bring you back.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, producer Matt, who is now rehired? Congrats.
I think I'd probably say Old Spice Wolfthorn.
I mean, that was my second answer.
Wow.
Someone had to take it.
Do you want to
Great.
know the making of that joke? I was
No.
like, Old Spice. What would be the funniest word? Wolfthorn. Landslide.
That's
You
how they
nailed
named.
it.
That's how they named it. I'm pretty sure, because
Yeah.
the others are like swag and bear and I don't.
Yeah.
Bear
Fiji.
claw.
Matterhorn.
Matterhorn. You looked
Great.
up all the Old Spice
Great ride
scents.
at Disneyland.
Yeah, those are good scents. I'm pretty content with those.
Yeah. Good
I
stuff.
know
Good
later I'll
question.
go, oh, I should have said, but I don't.
Good breakfast theme.
Oh yeah, and
then
because you
my
wake up, put on your Old
Stupid
Spice,
weird answer. I'm just like way
eat
off your guys'
bacon and
page.
drink some coffee.
Way to ruin it.
Maybe January Joneso would like to be on this podcast instead of me. I'm
If you
just so out of the
if you
loop.
could take junk mail more seriously, that would
Yeah.
we really appreciate that.
Goofy
Thanks.
Old Spice scents.
Yeah, maybe not make
Enter.
it a joke.
Katie, before we move on, it's past Martin Luther King Day. Is your parents' Christmas tree
Whoa.
down?
So what the week that you asked me and I texted my mom, she got back to me and said decorations off, but it wasn't out yet.
Wow.
So what day was what was the over under?
It was Monday the 18th.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it was gone by then.
Okay.
Wow.
But I thought it was going to be out way sooner. So that was like big bombshell. Before we go again, Bachelor, how you doing with your girls?
Yes.
Great news. JoJo and Lauren H. both still alive.
I think
Both
I
still
overheard someone say that maybe they get solo dates this week. Is
Yeah,
that-
it looked like in the coming, what's up next week, that they both get one-on-one dates, which is always really good for them to get some, real quality time with Ben. My favorite best moment from this week. Oh, another girl bounced on her own this week, by the way. This girl Lace, who was just crazy, but she bounced.
Lace?
Her name was Lace. Whereas LB
My
last
sister's
week,
name is Leva.
whereas
My
LB,
father's name is Wolfthorn.
whereas last week LB bounced.
But
I'm
anyway,
gonna get this
back
out.
to the show.
I'm gonna get this out, guys.
Guys, people are dying to hear this.
Go ahead. Wait, what happened with Lace?
So, last week LB bounced in like a way where she's like, this isn't for me.
Pound
Pound
town.
Town. Can you please call her by her proper name?
Lace 100% left because she's like, this guy knows I'm batshit crazy and is definitely not keeping me.
Why?
There were like, first night she was the girl who got way too drunk and just said stupid shit.
That would be me. It was
And then-
nervous sipping.
Right.
A nervous sip.
And then she did the thing where she was so drunk that she said, can I talk to you again?
Oh, no.
Listen, I just want to apologize. I'm not usually like this. And
Yes,
it was
you
just
are.
like, everything went downhill for her. So she did the thing where she's like, this guy's not keeping me around. I'm going to leave before he tells me to leave.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of like a cop-out. It's like, dude, you signed up for the show where you either get a rose or don't get a rose. Don't like cheat the system.
You know what? I feel like Kobe Bryant could learn a thing or two from Lace. Just take a step
Bring
back.
it back to sports. I like
Just
this.
you know
I like this.
that you're done, so just bow out.
That was masterful.
Take
That
a
was
step
fucking
back.
perfect.
Learn from Lace. That's what I think.
Hashtag learn from Lace.
Here's the other thing, though. When you said that it's good for JoJo and Lauren H.
Yeah.
If it's
Keep
good
your Lawrence
for
clear, yeah.
if it's good for, you won't call her Pound Town. So let me get this. You said it's good for them that they get solo dates. I feel like, is it good for them or is it maybe also bad? If you just kind of
That's right.
blend in with the crowd, stay hot enough that he's like, oh yeah, I haven't actually spent any time with her. She's mysterious.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody loves when someone's mysterious. You're not mysterious once you talk to that person because you're going to do something that's like, ugh. Might as well stick around as
really?
long as possible and then be like, oh shit, solo date time? Okay, I guess I got to pull a tit out. Would be my strategy, but
Yeah.
that's just, I'm
That's
on,
sound.
It's a
I'm
great
on
strategy.
next level, I'm smart.
You make a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know your Bachelor.
When in
shit.
doubt, whip it out. That's
Yeah.
right. It's gonna go on my
Yeah. When in
on
doubt.
my grave. That's my you googly. Katie always, as Katie always said, guys, when in doubt, whip it out, and you got to say it like that. You got to
And
put
just
the emphasis.
everyone
Whip
at your
it
funeral
out.
just have just one tit out.
Just
Just
oh
one
God,
single dumb
it's like I
tit
said,
out.
Don't pour anything out. Just slowly reveal your nipple, and then
Just
everyone-
tears just flying down on a naked
I mean, I
breast.
imagine you're all crying your eyes out,
Yeah.
and then there's boobs.
Let's whip one out for our homie.
Yeah. But whip it out. Okay, that's it, guys. We will be back next week, I think. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes and rate this lovely podcast and leave a comment. But as usual, what do we like to say? Only if it's 5 stars, only if your comment is positive. Because we just talked about pulling a boob out at my funeral. I don't understand what notes or constructive criticism you could have for this podcast. Crushing it. Or you can listen on SoundCloud or Stitcher or however you like to listen to podcasts. Thanks again to Mike Francesa. Really cool that he came by. Really, really nice guy. And it's going to be exciting to see what he's doing with his life after 2017. Thank you to producer Matt.
Thank you. Go Pats.
Yeah, go Pats. Producer Dave.
Thank you.
See, he's sucking up now.
Yeah.
And thanks to all of you guys for listening. Bye. Love you. Mean it.